Hey everybody, welcome to the Suburban Stitcher podcast. My name is Diane and today is May 3rd, 2016. This is episode 92, which is insane. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just amazing. Welcome to the show. I am home. It is a Tuesday morning, about 10:30 in the morning. It's a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. We had some kind of weird, some rain, some not, and then I think like a cool front or something must have cool. It's relative in Texas. But it is a beautiful, it's like 65 degrees. Which it's been like 85, 88 degrees lately. So this like 65-degree weather is amazing. We had a baseball game last night that was so lovely. The weather was it was quite windy, but then I would rather be cold than hot any day. So that's kind of what's going on around here. Moving update. We are still packing and readying the house to move. It is getting closer and closer every day. Last week we did a bunch of our outside stuff. So we did some landscaping and some refreshing. We changed some light fixtures outside. You know, all the things that you do. Every time I do something, I kick myself that I didn't do it sooner. Like, why am I doing this for the people that are buying my house? I should have done this for me. But, oh well. So that's going well. I keep saying every week, next week, or later this week, we're going to put it on the market. No, maybe next week. And it keeps getting pushed back a little bit. But maybe that's an okay thing, just with some other things that are going on. And, yeah, so it's going well. It's going well. It is an overwhelming process, and I would be lying if I didn't say that it is just very overwhelming and exhausting and lots of things, lots of emotions and everything, and I definitely don't have it all together right now. But that's okay, right? So, another announcement, and it's really more of a question, is I want to ask, last year we did the big knit along, the around your neck cowl, and I know that so many of you loved it. I loved it because I love knitting shawls and things. It's the perfect time of year, I think, to knit like lacy, beautiful things. And we can do that again if you would like, if there's interest. So if you want to have the around your neck cowl, I can certainly host it. It would be June, July, and August. I don't know that it would be structured exactly the same as far as prizes and things like that. I need to kind of look at how I do prizes in general for my knit-alongs. I'm thinking about restructuring some things and having some different requirements for that. But I would love to get feedback. Do you want to knit along? Do you want to do an around your neck cowl or something else? What would you like to do? So I can certainly still host that even though I'm in the midst of moving and everything. It's such a long period of time. And by the time it ends, I will be theoretically in my next place. So that shouldn't be a problem. So anyway, just give me your feedback on that. And the last sort of announcement before we get started with the knitting is I am proudly able to say that I am one of the splash pad sponsors. I forget which level, what the name of the level is, but I'm one of the sponsors. I'm having some exclusive splash pad only items and an exclusive giveaway, or not giveaway, exclusive shop update with those items, a special time. So I wanted to give you a little sneak preview because I'm going to be making bags next week, but I got the fabric and it is so cute and I just had to give you a heads up. So if you aren't familiar with the Splash Pad Knit Along, it is being hosted on the Down Cellar Studio podcast with Boston Jen. That's an audio podcast that if you do not listen to, you absolutely should, because it's informative. It is really well done. And Jennifer is amazing at giving lots of information, lots of really good educational things, good, honest feedback on products. She crochets and knits. She also is a photographer, so there's some photography things in there periodically. It's just a really good, well-rounded audio podcast. I find myself listening to fewer and fewer audio podcasts lately, and she is one of them that is still on my list of must listens. So, all of that being said, I am one of the sponsors, and as one of the, I think there were 2 or 3 levels, and I'm up, I don't know, whatever, but pro shop or something like that, I think is what it's called. But I am having some exclusive splash pad only items that will be in a shop update next Friday, May 13th at noon Central Time. And so here's the fabric. I haven't cut it out, but you can see what it's gonna look like. So it is this beautiful kind of navy blue background with jellyfish all over it, and these just cool like urchin, coral, sea life things. So yeah, I just really I love it. I love everything about it. And then the inside of the bags is going to be this super fun wave. I don't know which way it goes. This way maybe, or this way. I don't know. I don't know that there's necessarily a right or a wrong, but it's this wave fabric, and then you can see the little fishtails coming out. So I thought that should be the correct direction. That was just super cute. So there you go. You can see that that's how it's going to look together. I just love it. It's sort of a periwinkle-y blue, not quite a royal blue, and then the navy blue background, sort of a periwinkle. I don't really know that there's a better way to describe that. But anyway, so these are the fabrics. So super excited about them. There will be some of my small zip bags, my kind of standard size now for my sock sized knitting zip bags. And then I will have some whip minders, so the little whip minder needle protectors. And then I'm also going to have some coordinated beaded stitch markers in there as well. So that is that. Moving on. I do have one finished object this week, and again, I don't have my sock blockers because they are packed. I might actually need to go dig those out because I'm kind of sick of not having them. But I finished April Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. So here they are. They do match perfectly, pretty perfectly. So last episode, I didn't think that I was going to do them, and it wasn't for not wanting to, it was just time. I was not sure that I was going to be able to have the time to do these. So I'm really excited that I was able to. I ended up sizing these. I made the tubes like they were going to be for me. So they're quite long, actually. There's seven full repeats and then 1 repeat for the cuff, or almost a full repeat because they didn't get quite all of the black. But yeah, so I mean, it's like 65, 70 grams worth of yarn when it's all said and done. But I ended up putting the heel a little bit shorter than for me, so that they would fit my son. And I had him try them on. They're a little bit big right now, so they'll be perfect, hopefully, for fall. So I had him try them on and was kind of like, hey, do you like these? And he did. And they they're going to fit perfectly because they're a little bit big. Actually, they're pretty roomy right now. They fit great on the leg, but they're a little bit too long for him. I did have a little bit of a when knitting attacks this week on this one, and it's nothing major, and I don't even know that I can tell you which of the socks that it happened on. So let me tell you first about how I knit my self-striping socks typically. I start them toe up. I do a Turkish cast on for 16 stitches on each needle. So if you're familiar with the Turkish cast on, that's 16 wraps around the 2 needles so that you end up with 32 stitches total, and then I increase every other round until I get to 64 stitches total, 32 stitches on each needle. And then I basically just knit a tube. Depending on how many stripes are in my striping sequence is kind of how far I knit. I don't go to inches or number of rounds or anything with my striping socks because I knit toe up. They can be whatever they want. So generally, I will do number of repeats. So this one started, I put my knot for my Turkish cast on right at the beginning of this green zombie stripe round so that I could get an exact match for this one, which is how I'm able to get them matching so perfectly. And this was a 4 stripe repeat, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I decided that 7 repeats would give me a long enough for my foot and the leg. And so I knit 7 repeats of the sequence, and then I did almost this full repeat for the cuff. So it's probably about 14 or 15 rounds for the cuff. It's a 2x2 ribbing, and then I used the Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off for my bind off. And so that's what I did for both socks. Somehow, on one of them, I ended up with 31 stitches on the back side, like on the second needle. I knit these on magic loop. So I had 32 stitches on one needle and 31 stitches on the back side, the side that had the heel. And I didn't figure that out until, and I can see it's this one right here, because this one had 1 stitch that went into 2. So this was the second sock. The first one was fine. And I didn't figure that out until I started my ribbing and got to that end and didn't have enough stitches. I only had 3 stitches and I needed the 4 to finish that last ribbing repeat. So I just did a knit front and back to give myself another stitch right there, did my ribbing, and then bound off. And when I went to do the afterthought heel, I picked up an extra stitch from the front side. So technically, around the entire sock, there should be 64 stitches, and there's only 63. So I just kind of borrowed 1 stitch from the front side to get the heel right, so that it would be a 32 stitch heel, 64 stitch heel. I'm sure that's totally confusing if you have never knit an afterthought heel or knit socks, but for those that have and are wondering how I made that work, that's what I did. I do feel like it's pretty important to be honest with when we make mistakes and when we don't get things right, because I certainly make a ton of mistakes and don't want to have the idea out there that I am a perfect knitter by any means, because I pretty much make a mistake on every project, and I don't always mention it, so I need to be better about that, because I have issues on nearly every project. But these are done. They will be set aside for Nick for later in the year. So that is exciting that that's done. I do have several works in progress to talk to you about. I guess that I will start with, and this is in a Nomadic Yarns little box bag that I purchased last year. It's got cheeseburgers all over it because they're my favorite. Excuse me, they're my favorite. So, but I got my text message. How funny. Okay. Let me turn that off so we don't get any more Hunger Games text message alerts. Okay, so that kind of threw me off a little bit. So I am knitting, oh gosh, this is like a complete, I'm knitting a pair of socks out of some amazing yarn that I'm excited to tell you about. This is the Fawn and the Fox, and this is the fawnandthefox.etsy.com. This is her Raven base, which is a fingering weight yarn, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 115 grams for 4 ounces. So it's about 425 yards. The colorway is called Spumoni. And as soon as she, can't remember if she previewed it on her, maybe her podcast, or I just saw it. That would have, actually, I know for sure. She talked about it on her podcast, and I saw her hold up the skein and was like, oh, I have to have that. And I messaged her to make sure that I had the time right for her update and was ready to go because I knew that I needed to have this yarn. And I made it in the update because sometimes her yarns go pretty quickly. So I hand wound this because my ball winder is still around. My Swift is packed. And it's just easier to hand wind. So I just sat in bed one night and did this. And I started a sock. So I started it cuffed down because I originally started doing a pattern and ended up ripping it out and not doing the pattern because my brain just wanted plain vanilla. I just don't think I have the headspace for a patterned thing in my life right now. But I love the way this is knitting up. It is beautiful, springy colored speckles. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The base of this yarn is, it's an 80-20, but it is not like this other 80-20s that I have used. It almost feels like there's cashmere in it. And it does have a little bit of a halo. I don't know if that's going to come across. But it's very squishy. This one, again, this pattern, I started knitting. I knew that the pattern that I was going to knit was cuffed down. And so I just started knitting a 2x2 rib. And then I looked at I thought, maybe I better look at the pattern and make sure that's what it is. And it wasn't. It was a 3x1 rib. So I started with the 2x2 rib and I didn't rip it out. I just turned it into a 3x1. So you can see some extra little pearls there, which is fine. But yeah, I'm making these a little bit shorter. I've actually already started my Fish Lips Kiss Heel on this side, which is sort of why my needles are acting a little wonky. But yeah, I'm really just totally in love with how the yarn is knitting, with how it looks, everything about it. So that is the Fawn and the Fox, the Fawn Knits, Raven base in the Spumoni colorway. I don't know if I showed that, but so that is one thing that I started this week. And the reason that I started those socks is because I was knitting or wanted to knit on my next work in progress, which is my, again, this is sort of a tangled mess because it's another wind knitting attack. So I made lots of mistakes this week. I think it's pretty indicative of my state of mind. I wanted to put a square into my little pinky light girly blanket. And so I balled that yarn up just to be able to put a square in my blanket. And then once it was already balled up, I thought, well, I need some socks too. So I started some socks. Since I'd finished the Desert Vista Dye Works ones. And I want these to be shorter because they're kind of spring colored. So I think that that would help me, be able to wear them in the springtime. Because it's so hot here, I certainly don't need really long socks. So I added this one square this week, and then I am working on another square. This yarn is really, really pretty, and it is by Loops. And I don't know what it's called, but it was in the little mini skein sampler set that I bought from them about a month ago. I really like it. It's got like half of it is this pinky colorway, and then the other half is this white with lots of different colors, speckles. So I just really think it's very pretty. And I needed some more pink in here. I only really have these two squares that are predominantly pink. And this one's sort of an adobe, kind of not quite pink. So I just needed to get some more pink in here. So that was kind of my goal with that square. I am knitting this on, get the other one out of here, knitting this on Signature needles. These are the, they're not DPNs, they're just single point needles. This is a size 2.5 millimeter, which is a US 1.5. This is the teardrop end. I've had several people message me about that. I have the teardrop end, or raindrop, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a bell, there's a swirl, and there's like this teardrop or raindrop, and I have that one, again, because I like that it's smooth when it hits my arm right here when I'm knitting, because that's where it hits, right there, and it's nice. So, and I want to say again that they were like in the $37, $32 somewhere dollar range a set, which again is a little pricey, but for something that I'm going to be working on for eons, it's totally worth it. I do want to say I get a lot of messages about how I knit my squares, how many squares, how many stitches do I cast on. I have notes in my, I have the actual pattern that I'm using in my project page. I have two blankets going. This is the smaller square version. This one is a cast on of 44 stitches. So there's 22 stitches on each side. And then I actually put a stitch marker in the middle of my, so there's 22 stitch marker. You can see that right here. 22 stitches and a stitch marker, and then 22 stitches. And so I'm actually doing 2 decreases on my decrease rows. I'm doing 1 on each side of the stitch marker. And that's why my my decreases are actually in garter stitch, and they have this look to them. I know that a lot of people are doing where you have an odd number of stitches, like 49. And so then you'll knit 24 stitches, do like or 23 stitches, do a center double decrease or something, and then you get that, like a knit decrease on top of your knitting. I don't necessarily have a preference, one or the other. This was just the pattern that I started with, and it makes sense to me. So that's what I do. The other blanket that I'm knitting, which is my kind of Desert Vista Dye Works mitered square blanket, is 64 stitches total. So this one is 20 less, and it's also on bigger needles, so the squares are quite a lot bigger. So that is a work in progress that I have worked on. Oh, and I said I had a little bit of when knitting attacks on that one. I knit almost the entire mitered square that I'm working on, and then realized that I had the wrong number of stitches on each half of, on either side of the stitch marker, which meant my decrease was like wonky. So I had to rip it out and start over. I have put some stitches into my test knit that I am knitting for Hohi. I can't share the name or really what this one is about. I can tell you that it is a shawl, and I can tell you that I will show you this. I am using 2 skeins of hedgehog fibers in the teacup colorway. And there's obviously a lot of garter stitch, and that is all I will show you. So I've put a few stitches into that. It is not quite as portable since I am alternating skeins. And the reason I'm doing that is because one of my teacup skeins was very heavily speckled and the other one was less speckled. And I didn't want there to be a noticeable break in the amount of speckles. So I'm alternating. And I feel like that's helping it just feel more cohesive. Yeah, cohesive. So that has gotten some work this week, or the last couple of weeks. I don't think I've worked really on either one of these socks, so I'll just show them very quickly. You'll remember that I cast on another sport weight pair of socks for my son Jack. And this is out of the what am I trying to say? This is out of Another Crafty Girl in the Floating Lanterns colorway. So this one, I don't think I've worked on that one since I spoke to you last. And then I also maybe put a couple of rounds in, but not a lot, on my, what are these? Blueberry waffles. And I'm on the ribbing. I just need to do like probably 10 more rounds of ribbing, and then this first sock will be done. And I just need to do that, but I get like weird with my brain space these days. Again, hashtag moving. So that is it for works in progress. I do actually have a couple of things that I would like to share with you for Hello Lovelies this week. The first is I have gotten really excited. I got myself a new journal for the purpose of bullet journaling. And I am definitely a person that needs to have a planner. I prefer a paper planner that I write things in over, keeping it on my phone or a digital planner. And the reason for that is because I do better with writing things down. Sorry, there's like something sticky on here and I don't want it to stay sticky. So I do better when I write things down. It's that like act of writing it that it just kind of gets it in my head and helps me remember it. So I've always liked writing things in notebooks and school supplies, and it's just always been my thing. The planner that I used last year for 2015 was in a style such that I kind of used it like a bullet journal, even though it was just written out, like the days were laid out just with kind of blank lines, and it wasn't necessarily segmented by time. And I used that for kind of one side of the day was, okay, here's my schedule, like 12 o'clock dentist appointment, 6 o'clock baseball game. And the other side I kind of used as my to-do list side. And I realized that that was really kind of bullet journaling, and I was making it work in a different way. But I really liked that act of, okay, I did this and it's done. Like I can color in the dot, or I can move this activity forward, or whatever. Long story short, I did some research and got a notebook to do some bullet journaling. I'm just getting started with it, so May will be my test month to see how I'm liking it. I will link to the actual. Sorry, there must have been something sticky in my bag because this is just grody. Kids. I got this hot pink colorway because pink, of course. It's this brand. Oh, let's see. There you go. And I got it on Amazon. It's not inexpensive. It was like $20 for this book. But I really like the pages. They're thick, and the ink doesn't go through when you write. It has an index already built in for it, like for a table of contents. And it is a dot matrix, dot lined, or dot grid, I guess is the best way to say it. So you can see I've started setting it up, but you can see that it's the dots. Sorry, my phone is ringing. know who that is. So it's the dots, and I've started setting it up for kind of my little months at a glance here. And then I have my May log and which is sort of like my schedule, like day by day schedule, and then kind of just at a glance, like baseball game, this, whatever activities are going on. And then I have a monthly log of just kind of like a monthly to-do list. And then over here, I have what will be a more detailed to-do list by day. Haven't done today's yet because today has been a crazy day already with unexpected things happening. So a sick kiddo from school who came right in and is fast asleep in his bed. He's that sick. So along with that, I bought some new pens that I really have been wanting, both of these sets for a while. And of course, if you can get it in rainbow colors, then it's that much better. So I bought this set of High-Tech C mica. They are quite thin as far as the tip of the pen. They're 0.4 millimeter. So the little tip right there, you can see it's quite thin. But they came in this nice case, which I really appreciate. We'll see how long I can keep them in rainbow order. And then the other pens that I purchased, these did not come in a case. I'm going to have to, oop, I dropped one. Well, I'm not going to reach down to pick it up. There were 8 of these. I dropped the green one. But there are these little, they're little like this. So they're a little bit smaller, but they are a fountain tip pen, which I am newly discovering and absolutely love. So, and they're just they're a disposable fountain pen. So each of the ink colors is the color that is the on the lid and on the bottom of the pen. So this is like a turquoisey teal. And it came in, 8 different colors, which were really nice. The difference, I took a picture on Instagram, was kind of testing them out. So this is the fountain pen, so it's a little bit thicker. And this is the really thin tip of that first set I showed. So I've been having fun with all of that. I do have one yarn enabling this week. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, and there I am, Suburban Stitcher on Instagram, I was lucky enough to get one of the exclusive hedgehog fiber skeins that was dyed for Jimmy Bean's wool. The colorway is called Little Women, which is a book that I have always loved. And my package went missing for a while, but it finally came 3 days later. 3 days after it said it had already been delivered. But I just absolutely love this. It's got a lot of pink, a lot of purple, a lot of the black that will speckle up, and I just can't wait to see how this one knits up. So I'm really pretty excited about this. And the last Hello Lovely is I have been enjoying some new audiobooks. I am currently listening to the second book in a series. The author is Sarah Graves, and I don't know what the name, maybe Lizzie Snow is kind of the main character. And the first book is called Winter at the Door, and the second book is called The Girls She Left Behind. And I probably have about an hour left in the second book. They're a crime drama. Lizzie Snow is a police officer in rural Maine, and it is about crimes that happen in rural Maine. Very interesting. Some, just kind of different things happening. I really am enjoying it. And I'm also listening to, just started, I'm borrowing from my library. I'm listening to the Harry Potter book series. I love Harry Potter. Now, I am not as amazing and wonderful a fan as say, a lot of people out there. I have read the first 5 books. I actually never read books 6 and 7. I have seen all of the movies except for the last one. Literally, this is how bad I am. I love them, but I just haven't. And I honestly don't even know a lot of how the series ends. Like, I have managed to stay sort of spoiler free, which is, I kind of just by watching a lot of podcasts know some things that happen, just because a lot of the knit-alongs and things that people are dyeing up or making for the knit-alongs, so I sort of know. But I'm just really enjoying listening to that book. I've seen the first 5 movies so many times that I have forgotten some of the extra details that are in the books. And so it's really nice to be able to kind of experience those again. So really enjoying that. So that's Hello Lovelies this week. Those are things that are making me happy. And so next up, I have been very blessed to be able to give you a book review. This book is called Lazy Sunday Knitted Socks, and it is by Jane Burns. She is out of the UK, and she very kindly sent me this copy of this book. I'm getting a little closer because I'm going to have to show you some pictures. Hopefully the camera and lighting and everything cooperates. If not, I will put them in to the show. But so this is called Lazy Sunday Knitted Socks, 5 Simply Indulgent Beaded Socks to Knit by Jane Burns. My first impression of these socks was that they are absolutely amazing and gorgeous. And when I have the headspace to knit socks that are not vanilla, I will start with these. They are beautifully floral and detailed and just very elegant. So here's the kind of the front of the book. Is that going to show? Let's see. Yeah, maybe it's better if I do this way. Oh yeah, then you can see the whole page. Oh yay, you can see what's going on. Much better. So Lazy Sunday Knitted Socks, and that gorgeous pair and that beautiful color. All of the colors in this book are amazing. So the first pair is called Sitting in a Rainbow, and I actually think that she put these sort of in order of difficulty, which is lovely. She gives a great, a lot of information about knitting with beads. And certainly if you don't want to knit with beads, you could absolutely leave them off of any of these socks, but they add that extra detail that is amazing. Like I said, the first pair is called Sitting in a Rainbow, and it is this gorgeous, mostly stockinette sock with that little detail of eyelets, and then you can see the beads at the very top right there. It is, she says, if you're new to beading, this is the sock to start with. She's used her most simple vanilla construction, and then it's got that geometric eyelet pattern with only 16 beads on each sock. So it's up on the leg. It's not a huge commitment. You can do it or not. The yarn that she uses is Eden Cottage Yarns, which is an MCN blend. And she gives several different sizes. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sock sizes that you can use to knit this sock. So that's amazing. It's got great, variety as far as the number of sizes and people that it would fit. The second pair of socks is called No Room for Ravers. And it is a beautiful, almost leafy pattern, I would say. It's very reminiscent of leaves, in a gorgeous gray, also Eden Cottage Yarns MCN. And it has the beads blow this up so you can see. It has the beads sort of at the top of each little flower detail, leaf detail. This one looks like it also has a cable sort of at the beginning, kind of going up the middle of your foot. It's absolutely a gorgeous detail. The charts are very clear. She has the information that you need all on the same page at the chart, which is always good. The third pair of socks is called Nothing to Say. This one may be actually one of my favorite pair. I really, really like this pair. It's called Nothing to Say. And it has a beautiful like eyelet pattern up the middle of the sock, a cable on each side of that, and then on either side of that are sort of some diagonal lace panels. Absolutely beautiful. It is a Eden Cottage yarn, 75% merino, 25% silk, which is why they just look so beautiful and shiny. Yeah, that's probably why I like them. They use about 30 beads on these socks, so not too much. Oh, and then you can tell from this picture, it looks like that design repeats on the back, that it mirrors itself on the back side. This would just keep your attention and be very lovely to knit the entire time. This is probably one of my favorite pictures in the book, and you can see why I like these so much. They are my colors. Beautiful. The fourth pair of socks is called No Mind to Worry. This is the pair of socks that is on the cover of the book. And this is Eden Cottage Yarn's Wild Raspberry colorway. This is the merino silk base as well. This pair has a lot of beads, So you can see right there. If I get close, oh, no, don't want to see the pattern. So if I get close up for you to see, you can, yeah, you can see that line of beads, and then it goes all the way down the foot. I would be tempted to perhaps not bead the foot, just because then I wouldn't be able to wear them in a shoe, or they would be more uncomfortable to wear in the shoe. But you could, save these for your house socks, for your Sunday, your cozy, sitting around the house pair of socks, and that would be just fine. And the last pair is called Drift Away, and this looks like it is a twisted rib kind of base for the sock, and then it's got that pretty cable detail on one side, kind of up the leg, and then an eyelet cable detail on the other side. Eden Cottage Yarns, 75% wool, 75% wool, 25% nylon. This one uses 44 beads. This one is probably the most difficult just because of all of the twisted rib and then that cable. I want to go back to that last sock and see. This one's 44 beads, so this one actually uses more, this one. Let's see, where do they put them? Okay, so let's see if I can find you a picture. Looks like there are a couple of beads inside those, that twisted cable. For sure, there's a couple of beads in each opening there. And I think that might be where the beads are in that one. Overall, she gives you a lovely step-by-step beading with a crochet hook so that you have instructions there. She also gives you a great list of resources and videos, good information on generic, like cast on, bind off, things like that. So it's a wonderful book. Jane has been so lovely and has offered up a hard copy of this book as a giveaway. So what I would like to do is I will open up a thread in the Ravelry group, and anyone who is interested in winning a copy of this book, Lazy Sunday by Jane Burns, if you will go over to the Ravelry thread, enter a comment in there telling me something that you liked about, either the favorite pattern, the yarns, what you want to knit it out of. Leave me a comment relating to this collection, and I will draw a winner for the next episode. So thank you so much, Jane, for letting me review it, for sending me the copy for review, and for also offering a copy up to one of our watchers. And the last thing that I want to talk about is Suburban Stitcher shop news. So this week I'm going to be adding some things periodically to the shop. I have, kind of the last maybe handful of bags from various fabrics that have been popular in the past. Just kind of throughout the week I'll be adding those. Ones that are up right now, I added them yesterday and there are still some in there, are my little kind of bunnies and woodlands bags. So I have the bunnies in the blue and in the pink, and both of these have the coordinating little acorn lining. This one of course has the pink, and this one has the blue. And I have the pink woodlands with the bottom. This has the same little pink acorn lining. And I have in the blue. And this is the last of this fabric that I have. So if you wanted any of these, you need to snatch those up right away, because I will not be getting any more of that. I also am going to have some other, some new fabrics, some just maybe one-of-a-kind type things that I will be adding in this week as I get time to cut them out and make them. So that is kind of it for the show. I just thank y'all so much for watching this week. Thank you for your patience with me. I wasn't around last week to tape, and I'm so sorry about that, but life just got in the way, and it is just a busy season. So I appreciate your patience. Thank y'all, as always, for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.